Okay, let's begin. Welcome to the February 4th, 2025 meeting of the Rybrook Zoning Board of Appeals. As you can see, this evening we have 3 of the 5 members, which means any application coming before us will require a unanimous vote of all the participants in order for the application to be accepted. So you have the opportunity to request a delay to the March meeting if you so desire, and you can make that decision anytime, basically up to the time you get to the podium. With us this evening, we have Village Attorney Bob Zitt, Building Inspector and Fire Inspector Steve Hughes. Representing the Board of Trustees as liaison is David Heiser, sitting on the side. And video is being brought to you by Fred Seifert in the Hallett Halls of Village Hall. If you're going to be making the presentation and you decide to be heard this evening, please come to the podium, state your name, the address, the nature of the relationship with the applicant if you are not the applicant, and the nature of the variance request. So we'll start off this evening with application ZBA 24-017, and if I mispronounce your names, please let me know. Donald Amell and Katlyn Amell, 235 Irenhyl Avenue Demolish existing front entry platform and steps, and construct new front entry. So please come to the podium. Now, while you're preparing, looks like you have a flip chart, I'm going to ask, first of all, can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, public hearing is open. How do you like that, Bob? Okay, I'm going to ask Village Attorney to comment on a unique situation with respect to this application. It came before the Board of Trustees, and so I asked Village Council to explain the unique nature of this application that's coming before us. So, Bob?
Sure. So the applicants are seeking variances in connection with the demolition of an existing front entry platform and steps for the purposes of a new entry. Part of that portion of the property actually extends into the village right-of-way. So the applicants pursued a license agreement with the Village of Rybrook, and I believe they obtained that license agreement on January 14th, 2025. The village authorized them by resolution, and that has been signed on January 21st of 2025.
Okay. And the reason it went before them, before us?
The reason it goes before the Village Board of Trustees is for the purposes of the license agreement. This board wouldn't necessarily have the ability to authorize variances on village property unless the applicant pursued such a license agreement.
I'm not saying that this will happen, but it's technically possible that the zoning board can act against the application.
Correct, and the license agreement that was entered into at the Board of Trustees is contingent upon any approvals that this board authorizes.
All right, thank you, thank you. Steve, where would you want that to be facing? Okay, good. Thank you. And you should probably need a handheld mic if he's going to be working from there.
Testing.
Once again, please introduce yourself.
My name is John Anastasiou, and I'm the architect for Don and Katlyn.
Okay, very good.
So as previously just mentioned, the project includes demolishing an existing front platform entry into the house and a new platform entry is being constructed, which is just incrementally a little bit bigger, and we're also putting a new roof over it. Currently, the existing platform doesn't have a roof. In addition to that, the existing steps are parallel to the house going up to the platform, and what we're looking to do is do something a little bit more conventional where the steps are in line with the entrance, with the entry door. Currently, the existing setback from the property line to the edge of the existing platform is 3.5 feet, and by increasing it incrementally, the new setback from the property line to the edge of the new platform will be 3 feet. However, the steps run all the way to the property line, and the last step also extends past the property line. That's why we had to go in front of the town council to get that agreement, the license agreement. Because of the proximity of the existing house to the existing property line, which is existing non-compliant, a lot of our ratios are skewed. The existing front sunroom, which is going to stay, already has a non-compliant height to setback ratio, and with the new roof that we're adding over the new platform, we're roughly at about that same ratio, a little bit more. So one of the variances that we're requesting is relief from the requirement for this height to setback ratio from the front property line. It's a request of 2.8.
What is the incremental difference between the non-conforming now and the new ratio? Because, we're required to to go back to, what the existing should be. While you're doing that, Bob, can I ask you a couple of questions regarding the license? If we go ahead and grant the variance and the person sell the property, does this license get revoked? Does it get transferred? Because as I was reading the application, that sort of came to mind, because normally the variance goes with the property. But I was wondering, if the license is taken away, then the new applicant sort of gets the shaft.
Give me 1 second.
It's already been built, right? For if they move and someone else buys the property,
Does the license move with the deed?
but if it doesn't, the stairs have already been built and extended out.
Yeah, but without a license, though, they can't.
But it's already there, right? So
I thought it was in here, isn't it?
What?
The license agreement?
Yeah, the license
was.
resolution is there, but,
No, the agreement itself.
yeah,
Yes,
I saw
it's
the
there.
license agreement.
I was just looking for it.
all right, we could meditate on that. Please continue, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm just looking at the application that was submitted. The front currently, when it's measured from the property line to the front edge of the sunroom, is currently at a ratio of 1.81, and from the side, it's at 3.55, with the new roof over the platform. From the front, the new ratio is at 4, and the side ratio stays the same at 3.55.
Okay. And there's
And
no
again-
way to reduce that ratio? That's usually what we ask for. Is this the smallest possible variance that can be given that meets the needs of the applicant? And so I'm just asking,
I believe it is, because the platform that we're putting back is basically the size of the platform that's there, and what we're looking to do is just cover it, for weather protection when someone comes out of their front door. So we're increasing the platform, I think, by about 6 inches, because the one that's there now is rather tight. So we're making it 4 foot in depth instead of the 3'6" that it currently is, and we're just putting a roof over it. So I believe it's as small as it can get. That's practical.
If there's no roof, does these height ratios still an issue?
If there's no roof,
Right.
then it goes back to what it is at now, with the existing sunroom that's there.
Doesn't say? One of the advantages of having lawyers here is that
So-
they could look at the license.
Ordinarily, license agreements don't run with the land, typically, like deeds or easements. So, this is something that would have to be assumed by the following property owner.
Yeah, and it's also terminable by either party on 15 days' notice. so-
Correct. So the
so
the board
it's not
reserves the
gonna-
right to
The
terminate.
board can terminate it, so it's not, doesn't run with the land.
Okay, so
So this is something that would require the applicant to come back before the Board of Trustees in the event a new purchaser takes over the property.
But if the variance were, if we grant the variance stays with the property. So it's a little
Correct.
bit of an
So
oddball
the-
situation there.
Although I
this-
assume the town would assign the
I
license
assume
agreement.
so, too.
Right.
okay, but it will come up in the deeds, in the search
Should.
upon sale, should come up.
The title company should show it.
Right, good. All right, we got that. Thank you. Steve, when you look at the houses on Iron Hill, in that particular part of it, they all seem to have the same issue, right? The walkway goes right to the street because there is no curb on that part, right?
Yeah, that's correct. There's similar houses on that street with non-conforming in the front yard.
Does that create a problem with the required setback of cars from the street? Because I notice when you drive by there, a lot of the cars are almost in the street. Sort of like on North Ridge, you have the same problem, Ridge Street. The cars there on the south end literally come right to the end of the driveway.
Yeah, a lot of the driveways there are just, one-car tandem parking, so if you got multiple cars, then you're going to be lined up in tandem behind each other, and you're going to be close to the road.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, anyone have any questions of the architect?
No.
Nope. Okay. Can I have, anyone here in the audience want to speak in favor of the application, besides the applicant? You can too. Anyone want to speak against the application? Okay, there being none, have a motion to close the public hearing?
Close. Move,
Second.
motion to close.
Okay. The only concern I had was, and I guess this isn't our purview, but there's got to be an insurance policy. and everything. How does the village monitor something like that?
Under the license agreement, the licensee is required to insure that property.
Right, they have to have $1 million or $2 million, but how does one monitor the maintenance of that since it's in the village right of way? I guess they don't unless there's something brings it to your attention.
If, if there's a slip and fall or something, the license agreement requires the property owners to carry insurance. I don't think this is something that would be consistently monitored unless something were to occur. So,
Right, and insurance or not, I think the license agreement requires them to defend, or at least indemnify, that person anyway. So that doesn't mean they will have insurance. I mean, you hope they do, most homeowners, because you never know what can happen.
No, I think the insurance policy needs to specify that it's covering this village property. In other words, it's not their property, so
Right.
you just have to make sure your insurer has the license agreement and make sure they cover it.
I presume, Bob,
Just for your own protection.
I presume Keen Bean reviewed the protection to the village, right? Because they are the...
under the license agreement, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So that's-
Yeah, the village is fully protected.
Okay, quickly going over the factors. The only one that I see is, obviously it's self-created and they're
It's not
substantial.
self-created. I don't think it's self-created.
Yeah, they're want to put that top on there.
Yeah, but it-
Self-created.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree with it, because the way the
Yeah,
house
I-
is built.
Yeah, but they don't have to do anything, so I think what they're trying
It's
to do.
existing non-compliance anyway, so. Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm okay then, going ahead?
Yep.
Yep.
Whereas application has been made to the Zoning Board of Appeals by Donald and Katlyn Amell, hopefully I pronounced it correctly, for a series of variances in connection with the demolition of an existing front entry platform and steps for the purpose of constructing a new entry at property located at 235 Irenhyl Avenue in an R5 zoning district approximately 100 feet from the intersection of Woodland Avenue and Irenhyl Avenue, designated and shown on the tax map of the Village of Rybrook as parcel ID number 135.75-1-45.1, the property. And whereas the applicant seeks relief from the following requirements of the Rybrook zoning code. 1, Section 250-24, Section G, Item 1. The minimum required front yard setback is 20 feet. The applicant's proposed new front entry will result in a front yard setback of 0 feet. Therefore, a front yard setback variance of 20 feet is required. Secondly, Section 250-24, Part I, Section 1, the maximum allowable front height setback ratio is 1.2. The applicant's proposed new front entry will result in a front height setback ratio of 4.0. Therefore, a front height setback ratio variance of 2.80 is required. John is salivating back there, because of the size of these variances. Whereas a portion of the proposed entry steps are found to be encroaching into the right-of-way of Irenhyl Avenue owned by the Village of Rybrook. And whereas by resolution of the Village of Rybrook Board of Trustees dated January 14th, 2025, and upon the applicant's request, the Village of Rybrook and applicants entered into a license agreement dated January 21, 2025, to maintain a portion of said entry steps into the right-of-way. Whereas a duly advertised public hearing was held on February 4th, 2025, and closed on the same day, at which time all those wishing to be heard were given such opportunity. Whereas the proposed action is a Type 2 action pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and accordingly no further environmental review is required. Whereas the board, from the application after viewing the premises and neighborhood concerned, and upon considering each of the factors set forth in Section 250-13, Section G, Part B, Items 2A through E of the Rybrook Code, finds for the variance request 1 and 2 above. The required variances will not create any adverse impacts to the character of the neighborhood. 2, the benefits the applicant seeks cannot be achieved through another method feasible for the applicant to pursue that does not require the variances. 3, the requested variances are substantial. 4, the required variances will not create any adverse impacts to the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. And 5, the need for the variance is self-created. Now therefore be it resolved that said application is hereby provisionally granted on the following conditions. No permit or certificate of occupancy shall be issued until the applicants have paid in full all application and consultant fees incurred by the village in connection with the review of this application. Okay, we're going to call the roll now. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Jamie excused. Joel excused. Don, yes. Application approved. 3 yeses, 0 nays. To excuse. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
When's the deadline for getting onto the architectural review?
Tomorrow.
All right.
Good luck.
Can I reach out to you tomorrow? Sure. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Again, okay, I'm just trying to get my ducks lined up here.
That was good. Thank you, Don.
Okay, my pleasure. Okay, now, with respect to the second application, I have a bit of an announcement. So I'll introduce the application and then I'll chime in. The second application is application ZBA 25-001 Bradley Scharf and June Scharf, 8 Magnolia Drive, construct a new expanded deck. Now, we have three board members here, so we have to have a unanimous vote. Unfortunately, one of the board members, Stephen Berger, was in the notification zone, which meant that normally he would recuse himself from participating in the deliberations. However, there has been a precedent where if the board member says that he believes he can adjudicate the application objectively, fairly, he has indicated that he would be willing to sit through and hear the application. However, I would prefer that the applicant give permission, or else we will adjourn this to the following month.
Yeah, this is not a surprise to us. So we know that he got noticed, he's in the neighborhood,
Yes.
and we have no objection to him participating.
Okay,
And we were warned of this earlier, so.
good. So for the record, can you
So for the
indicate
record, we're,
who you are that gave permission to do this?
okay, John G. Scarletta Jr., the architect for the Scharf, and Mr. Scharf is in the audience. So he can confirm that we have this discussion.
Discussed it, and I'm fine
Um,
with Mr. Berger.
And it's fine. I'm happy to participate.
Okay, Steve, why is the screen not on?
Probably because they didn't pay their rent.
It's always me, right?
There we go.
Well, no, it looks like it's.
Yeah, thank whoever put up these stars in the ceiling here, brightens the place up. It's the first time we've seen them since we haven't been here.
Since November, yeah,
Oh.
well,
Is this
I
one
think
lit
they're
up?
maybe leftover Christmas decorations.
Yeah, probably. Either that or the CIA is monitoring this.
Who knows these days? Signal.
So, Mr. Scharf, as a reminder, there's only 3 of us. You need a unanimous vote today. And last time you were here, it's completely different, but it was not unanimous. So I just kind of want to let you know everything, and you're free to proceed, or,
Yeah, okay with proceeding.
okay,
Right, and the last one we never ended up building anyway,
right.
between COVID and.
Yeah.
Should come on, it's on HDMI too. There's only one, yeah.
The computer was set to watch the Super Bowl, and now they're just adjusting the input.
Thanks, Fred, to come up.
How many professionals?
I know you're in trouble when an attorney starts playing with
Yeah.
the
I was gonna say,
I was gonna say
How
something
many
like that.
professionals does it take to change a light bulb?
We need a 12-year-old.
Can you call Fred on that phone, or he can only call you?
I have no idea what Fred's extension is.
That red phone, that Fred?
The red, the hotline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Diet Coke comes out of it.
What kind of cord you got there? That should be it.
Okay.
Leave it to me.
What happened? What's
I don't
happening?
know, we can't get it to.
Okay.
What did I do wrong?
Nothing. Okay, let's see, what do we got here?
See, I have that on the same on my TV.
Uh,
So I've got to go to a separate one to get the TV channel. It's
Oh.
HDMA 3
Oh.
instead of HDMI 2.
Yeah.
And 2 I get,
I get nervous when the source is changed because I'm not sure I'll ever know how to get it back. Which one?
Oh, what is this? Say.
That's the
Oh, this is killing me.
HDMI.
Make me nervous.
Okay, nothing.
it'll be
Okay.
I guess sometimes the boards are just.
Let me tell you a joke. There was one architect, a lawyer, and a building inspector, and they were trying to get this thing together.
Okay, what is this?
No, Dell.
Yeah.
Good time.
If you want to use my computer works.
I could try yours. I'll just set up better on mine, but that's fine.
I guess you won't be getting French job to your platform.
That's one way to get out of it.
Just making sure. Not at all.
You want to use hard copies? Old school?
Old-fashioned one.
Or I could just use your computer, because you have it online from,
Yeah.
which is basically the pictures on the drawing, that's all I really need.
I mean, we have 2 computers here with it, and, you know, Glenn can look at this one. So,
We're giving up. We'll see if that works. See if that, so is it my computer and not, or is it just a screen? If not, I could just hold my computer up to the board, right?
TV is not recognizing anything.
All right, that makes me feel better. It's not my
Is it
computer.
HDMI number 3? There's HDMI 3. Go down to that one, Rob. Go down to number 3. Right there. Yeah, back yeah, right there. Not 2. It's not working on 2.
what are we going to show us, John?
I was just going to show you some pictures and the
Yeah, this is
plan.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have everything
But it would be white if it were active.
on the internet?
Okay.
Well, John, if
I
they're,
could use Steve's computer, yes.
I was gonna say, if they're on your computer, you could just throw them to us, show them to us.
Or I could just use mine from the screen and show them, right? Because my screen's pretty big.
Let me give me the, just see what's, no, just to remove.
Just picked something up there.
Somebody was drawing something.
Why don't we just pass your
Well, I could
computer
just-
around?
I mean, you can just see my screen, right? Oh, you got it? Okay.
That's the agenda, that's not necessarily.
Yeah, it's got 100 on the top, so it's got the whole thing.
You should not be using any of the internet.
Okay.
This is what you should only be using,
Okay.
because you violated the 72-hour rule. Go. Okay?
Okay.
I don't know. No, the interest
Everything
calculation.
should be there.
Okay,
Okay, so,
turn sideways.
all right, so that's the existing deck. So. I got to bear with me, because now I want to go back to. So to go back, I just click out of the tab,
Yeah.
or just click out of the
Yeah,
photo?
minimize the tab, you want to go back
All right,
to.
got that. I clicked the right one, there you go.
You see the stuff on the left?
Yeah.
You see the
Yes.
3 bars up there?
Yes.
Hit that, it goes away.
Oh, God, so embarrassed.
It's only there so that you can jump to whatever you want.
I think that's get used to. Your computer.
You gotta slide the bar over at the bottom, slide it over to the right. There you go.
Okay, so we're proposing, you can see the line of the old. Right. The line of the old deck right now goes across here with the stairway. We're just pushing it. You can see our building envelope is in here. And then we're pushing the deck out about another 5 feet with the stairway built into the deck. Because we're trying to, the yard is a hill, we're trying to get a sitting area and a dining area on the deck and be comfortable. So we wanted a little bit more space than the 4% of the lot area that we're allowed. So we're asking for a 0.5% increase, which is 70 square feet, to just have one seating area on the upper deck and not put a lower or something down on the ground, which would be a deck and we could do as of right, but the yard just, we don't want to kill the yard and having the 2 levels and having to put a retaining wall in just doesn't make sense. So that's, let's go to the drawing of the deck.
What's the size of the deck now?
Size of the deck now, I think, is about 12 by 28.
And,
I think we're going like 16 by 28.
okay.
And the stairway sticks out of the 12 by 28, and the stairway is built into the 16 by.
Right. Mhm.
So it's just one straight line.
Right.
So we're asking for 70 square feet more than we're, if I actually control. So the piece of the deck that's new is, the bigger piece is this part sticking out. We're planning on doing a metal railing with cables and a post. And then we're going to do a retractable awning over part of it that's attached to the house. And we're within our building envelope. We're within our setback. So we don't have a setback and we don't have a lot coverage of impervious. Like we're not maxed out on our coverage.
Now, what do you have in the back screening from the house that's directly behind it? Is there any screening back there?
There's shrub, there's shrubs.
Do they exceed the height of the deck?
I mean, they can see, there are some trees, there's some shrubs, but it's not totally, you can see through.
It's not a hedge. You can see through it.
Through
Yeah.
certain parts.
Yeah.
It's not a hedge.
I'm just interested in the privacy aspect to the folks directly behind, because you're getting closer to them, and with the wild parties and everything, it becomes an issue. Could you just go over again, because of COVID, that previous request to expand?
Okay, so the previous, before COVID, we were going to actually push the back of the house out on the first floor.
Yeah.
And we're going to make the kitchen and family room more open and bigger. And we we're going to do a new deck. And everything got pushed out. And we needed FAR for the house. And I believe we needed a small amount of maximum lot coverage because the footprint of the house was bigger.
Mhm.
So because of COVID and pricing and everything else after it, what they ended up doing is they just did a renovation of the kitchen and we opened it up to the dining room. So we didn't add to the house.
Okay.
They just did a renovation. So, and they didn't touch the deck yet. So now they've decided they want to do now they're just going to do the deck. So we're just making the deck slightly bigger.
Would the deck have needed a variance in and of itself because of the size if the initial renovation went forward?
I don't remember, on the top of my head, I don't remember the exact size of the other
Okay,
deck.
okay.
In my mind, I'm thinking we just did it maxed out, but I'm also thinking that's because we had pushed it out and we had less space to
Right.
deal with in the setback.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any particular problem, with the size of that in the back. the house is imposing from the street, from the front. You know, it's pretty large compared to some of the others. I know there was some pushback last time, but I don't have a problem
Right,
with the
right, there
deck.
was pushback, we were making the house bigger, the FAR number was
Yeah.
bigger.
Right,
But they decided to work with what they had, and
okay.
And so that kind of eliminates now the potential of really pushing the back of the house out, because most people know, I think with the kitchen redone and
Right.
the cabinets on the back wall and the front part open, I'm thinking, like, most people wouldn't, well, they'd have to come back anyway if somebody did something.
Now, there's no need to do any kind of water management program because of the minimal expansion, right, of impervious? Okay, so I don't have any problems with the application. Glenn, are you okay?
No, as long as it doesn't put a pickleball court on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I might not be,
Yeah.
then I might have an
Then
issue.
there'll be lights and everything else.
Not
Now-
that we haven't had that before.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak in favor of the application? Please go forward, please. State your name, address, and anything else you want.
My name, excuse me. My name is Christopher Higgins. I reside at 16 Magnolia Drive, and I just want to lodge my support for the application. I feel like they're, as long as the expansion of the deck is not disrupting natural water runways and is of reasonable size, I think it should be approved.
Good.
So I
That
just
that
wanted
was the
to
question
state-
I was about to ask that I didn't ask, and that is the water, any water implications. But, you know, I know in the previous request, there was concern about swales and water flow, but can you see the house at all from your position,
I cannot. There is a bend around Magnolia. I'm on the other side of the bend.
the other
but
side? Same side of the street, though?
Same side of the street.
Okay, no, well, all right, thank you
So
very
for the
much.
record, just want to note my
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let the record show that. Anyone else want to speak in favor? Anyone want to speak against the application? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Okay. Do we consider this to be a large variance?
No?
0.5?
Well, it's 0.5, but it's from 3.5 to 4%, so I think as a percentage, I think it's large.
Okay, as long as it doesn't impact your vote.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right.
But Steve can have that one.
Thank you.
So you want to consider it not large? You know, John's going to come before us, so I just numerically
Right.
and then aesthetically.
Well,
Aesthetically,
that's the point, is depending on,
Yeah.
I always say who's right, depends who's paying me. So, I'd argue it's not a large variance, but if you take the percentage, it's a pretty significant percentage from, that's like 15, 17%.
all right, so I'll say it's numerically large, but not, aesthetically large.
Thank
How's
you,
that?
Thank you, Solomon.
Okay, good. The child's head will be preserved. Okay, let me go through the resolution then. Whereas application has been made to the Zoning Board of Appeals by Bradley and June Scharf, collectively the applicants, for a series of variances in connection with the proposed expansion of a deck at property located at 8 Magnolia Drive in an R15 zoning district, approximately 360 feet from the intersection of King Street and Magnolia Drive, designated and shown on the tax map of the Village of Rybrook as parcel ID number 136.21-1-17, the property. And whereas the applicant seeks relief from the following requirements of the Rybrook zoning code, section 250-37, part B, the maximum allowable deck coverage is 4%. The applicant's proposed new expanded deck will result in a deck coverage of 4.5%. Therefore, the applicants will require a deck coverage variance of 0.5%. Whereas a duly advertised public hearing was held on February 4th and closed on the same date, at which time all those wishing to be heard were given such opportunity. Whereas the proposed action is a Type 2 action pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and accordingly, no further environmental review is required. And whereas the board from the application, after viewing the premises and neighborhood concerned, and upon considering each of the factors set forth in section 250-13, section G, part 2, items 2A through E of the Rybrook Code, finds for the variance request 1 and 2 above. The requested variances will not create an adverse impact to the character of the neighborhood. the benefits the applicant seeks cannot be achieved through another method feasible for the applicant to pursue that does not require the variances. The requested variances are substantial. The requested variance will not create any adverse impacts to the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood, and the need for the variance is self-created. Therefore, be it resolved that said application is hereby provisionally granted until we get to the vote. On the following conditions: no permit or certificate of occupancy shall be issued until the applicants have paid in full all application and consultant fees incurred by the village in connection with the review of this application. Okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, Steve?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Don, yes. Jamie and Joel excused. Application approved, 3 yeses, no negatives, and 2 excused. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Have a good evening.
okay. Steve, you were going to speak to John about something else? The only last item on the agenda is the approval of the November minutes. I read them over, I didn't have a problem with them.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, minutes, okay, we approve the minutes, summary, whatever it's called, for the November meeting. Motion to,
Motion to close.
okay. Meeting is over. How's that, Bob? Now you can go home and feed the kid.